know if I was going to be able to say anything, so I didn't write anything down. This is a bit ad lib. I've not been able to find the words or bring the words out without doing this. I just, first of all, reiterating what Doug said, I just want to thank everybody for obviously being here, but I could not have got through the last 2 weeks if it wasn't for each and every one of you. And I want to thank you all for that from the bottom of my heart. I really do. Just give me a second. Those of you who know me, knew Carter, and the both of us know how much we loved each other and how we felt about each other and how I'm feeling now. So I know that you know that. He loved Norse mythology and he had a great interest in that, and I didn't know what I wanted to say, but Jack helped me and gave me some books to read, and I was reading one last night, and there was a passage that I found that really helped me a lot last night, and I wanted to read it to you guys. In ancient times, much like today, we as Satrua honor our dead by keeping their names and their stories alive in our hearts and in our minds. The Havamal, the wise sayings of Odin, teach us that cattle die and kinsmen die. One day you too shall die, but I know one thing that shall not die, and that is the good reputation of a man. Thank you.
So everybody, let's take a deep breath. Anybody else wants to come up? I didn't know Carter very long, or for a whole lot, but the minute that I met Lexi, I also met Carter, and we were involved in a lot of art shows, and he was always an interesting character to talk to, an interesting person to be with, and a huge-hearted human being. And you can tell by the pictures that he took, and anytime you talked to him, there was a lot that he could bestow upon you. He was an interesting and wonderful guy. And I know he had a lot of love just by seeing this room and seeing the eyes in this room. Anybody else would like to come up?
I wasn't best friends with Carter, but I knew him pretty well. We talked quite often, and the way I got to know him the best was he would come out. Well, we run an organization called Fight Famine is the Enemy, and he came out and fed with us quite often, and you know, you really get to see another side of people when they do that, and he just had a really gentle soul about it. And he really looked forward to doing it, and it was, you know, it was always wonderful to see him out there. And he never bragged about it or went away and boasted about what he had done with us. You know, it was just, it was wonderful, and I always loved seeing him out there. He came out with us on Thanksgiving was especially, you know, a special time when he was out there with us. We joined up with a bunch of groups. I mean, we had everything from, you know, punk rockers to churches, the Cajun Army, and everything out there. You know, he took a lot of pictures, and it was just, you know, it was just a great experience being able to share all those times with him. I'll never forget him. Thank y'all for letting me speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just want to say one more thing. We're all experiencing a bit of grief here, but Carter was all about play.
Yeah.
He was all about having fun. He loved to play, so he would really love it if some of you guys got up and told a funny story about him or a crazy thing that he did or anything like that. That would be Carter. It really would be. Thank you.
I'm terrible at talking in front of people. I apologize, but this one time, Lexi and Carter came to New Orleans and they visited me in the bar. Lexi had to go home or back to the hotel early because she was going to be waiting in line for tickets, and Carter decided to stay. And as one does in a bar, got very drunk. And so he was there about till close, and he kept out, like, he was like, he gave me his card to run the tab, and then he signed it off and everything. And then about 5 minutes later, he's like, did I pay my tab? Like, yeah, you did. And then as we're trying to close the doors, he comes back in again, he barges through them. Did I pay my tab? He does this about 4 more times. And then the next morning, he's like, oh shit, like he's sober now. Did I pay my tab? I'm just like, yes, you did. So that became kind of a running joke among us every time we would see each other. Did I pay my tab? Which, yeah, but aside from that, Carter has done a lot for me. Even after I moved back up to Chicago, we would still talk quite frequently, and there was a time where I was going through a really hard time. And he would just message me randomly or text me to make sure that I was okay. And I'll never be able to, repay that. He did so much for me with that.
I first met Carter at EA through my brother. They both worked on a project together. Carter was so open, so social, so many faces I see here that I don't know, I may know, maybe you've seen around. I remember when he first met Lexi, he just wouldn't stop talking about it. Him and her friends, I remember we were at his house one time and they got on a phone call together. I think they were at a pub or somewhere in Ireland or something, and he was just going on and on about how hot her voice was. From all the good times that we had at EA to going on a LARP trip out in Texas, he wasn't scared to talk to anybody. And he invited me a couple times out to come to see the house and all that, but I had social anxiety and I just didn't want to go. Yeah. But it even took me, I didn't want to come to this, but I did because I wanted to come play my condolences. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm too short. So I'll keep this short. I met Carter when I worked at the Arts Council. I actually just started working here at the gallery. But I helped put his work in a couple different places, like the mayor's office, the parish attorney's office, and at Southern University. And I just want to echo what other people have said about how he can really just get along with anybody in the room. He could be among close friends or city officials or even, the mayor herself, and he would just have an ease about him. He'd be a nervous wreck beforehand, but as soon as it was time, it was just a light switch. And you're like, well, hello, and he could really bring it out when he needed to, and it was really a delight working with him in that capacity. So.
I'm gonna keep this super short. There's just a particular story that makes me laugh every time I think of it. So I'm Ginger, or Blitz if you're Derby related, and I knew Carter through Lexi and roller derby. This is terrible. So Carter and my husband Jess got very close, and when Lexi bought Carter, skydiving for his birthday. Jess was like, I'm coming with you. And anybody that knew Carter knew his fucking obsession with cats. Y'all, I'm a dog person. But you knew it. You knew him, you knew it. So when we went, Lexi and I had our little cocktails and we stayed on the ground while we waited for the menfolk to go and jump out of an airplane. And while we're waiting for them to actually get on the plane, Carter pulls his hand out of his jacket and he had these 2 balls of fur. It was Belle's fur. It was his lucky fur balls that he kept in his pocket. And when he jumped out of the airplane, it wasn't "I love you, Lexi." He yelled, "I love you, Belle," as he fell, possibly to his death.
It's all true. That's definitely true. We had several pictures of Belle up. Yeah.
Sometimes he would send me videos of Belle if I was upset.
They're magical.
This is another roller derby story. So this is after I stopped skating. But I was still friends with everybody. And the first time I met Lexi and Carter was at a 4th of July swimming party. We were all wasted. And playing chicken fight, or water war, whatever you want to call it. Where traditionally it would just be like 2 people on 2 other people's back, but there was like 4 fights going on at one time, and it was just kind of like a free-for-all. And I think we got into it a little bit. That was the first time I met you, and we talked for a while, just sitting and drinking, and I was getting to know you, and I didn't know y'all that well, but when something happens in the derby community, everybody feels it.
And he soaked in beer pong. He soaked in beer pong.
He's bad at aiming for anything, like the garbage cans in the bar, he's like this way instead of
Missed
that.
everything.
And I just wanted to say that y'all are in my heart, and I love you.
Oh. I had a lot that I wanted to say. But I don't think I'm gonna get it out. He was one of the most genuine and disarmed. Sorry.
No problem.
Okay. Now, most of what I can say is inappropriate, so I won't say it. I've known Carter since early 2000s. We met at karaoke. I hosted a show in Florida at this place called Johnny Fujifino's, and he used to go to this place called Scarioke. It was like for goth. It was like goth karaoke. And so I happened to do a show the day after. And so I just started hosting, and he was such a friendly person and kind and loving, and we instantly became like brother and sister. Like, I can't even tell you how much this person infected my life. He was so amazing. I mean, he didn't even talk to me for 6 months because I was such an asshole when it came to men. He was like, you know what, you're a bitch. Like, I'm not talking to you because you're taking this shit from men, and I don't like it, and so you need to learn. Anyways, I convinced him to talk to me again, but he used to live in this 1-bedroom apartment off of 56th Street, and let me tell you, God, that shit was so dirty. It was. There was a few times where he would try to bring girls home, and I'm like, Carter, you cannot bring a girl here. Let me help you clean it. And even then, it still wasn't great. I did my best. And I tried to say it through Facebook. I'm sure you saw the few messages, but there were several girls in his life. Like you said, he was a not lazy man, but kind of. But it wasn't until you that he really expressed like love and compassion, and like, I really love this girl after like instantly meeting you. It was like right away. And you know, I just, because I knew him so long, and I knew all the people and experiences that he's been through, and he said that about you, I was like, I knew that you were it, you know? He expressed it immediately. And so, thank you for being such a lovely woman to him. I wish I could tell you stories. I mean, he licked my eyeball once. It was a dare. I think I was a dick to some guy one night, and he tried to hit me with a chair, and Carter jumped in front of it, and he got hit. Yeah, I don't want to say any more than that.
I knew Carter from EA also, and you know, I honestly don't know if he would even remember me. It has been many, many years since I saw him or anything, and y'all, I was a mess. When I worked at EA, like anyone that knew me from 2012 to 2014, like things were not good. But every day when I would walk outside and, you know, smoke my cigarette and have my little mental breakdowns, I remember him. I remember his smile and listening to anything that I spewed out at that time, because I was, you know, at that point where I just talk about it. Like, my life is going to shit, so here's everything about me. And I never felt judged by him. Not once. He would listen. He would talk to me. He would have, you know, give me a smile whenever we'd pass in the hall. I didn't know him super well, but he made an impact on my life. And I had to come. Whenever I heard, I had to come, because he was an important person to the world. Because those kind of souls are not, they're not normal, you know. They are rare and special, and he was a beautiful person. And I'm so sorry for your
Well, I'm not good with the talking thing either. I met Carter through the Roller Derby League, and I feel like we were just getting to the point where I was kind of getting to know him so much better, and we like to talk about photography, and we're both obsessed with cats, so we shared that. And I was saying earlier that, and you reminded me, I'm not comfortable around a lot of people, and I was always so comfortable around Carter, and he was just such a beautiful person, and I'm gonna miss him. Oh, that's it. I'm just imagining that you're gonna talk in a British accent. I'm like talking to British accent.
Carter didn't like sports, but man, I really think he liked taking really ugly pictures of and it just seems so selfish, but every time I think about him, I'm like, well, like, when's this photo dump gonna come? Like, when is he gonna post pictures of me looking, you know, or half this room, you know? You know, we all think we look so cool, and then we definitely don't look cool. And I remember the first thing I looked at, like, just to remember him, was he would make these memes of me, and they would say, which roles are you? Which roles are you? Which roles are you today? And then he started doing like additions with him, like, which roles are you today? Pink edition, because I just had so many that he could be like, all right, just ones with pink jerseys then, you know? And I remember looking and being like, shit, which roles am I today, you know? You know, today. And like the one that I feel like today is none of them. And I just hope nobody feels like any of the ones that aren't on that 1 through 9. Because the only ones that were on that 1 through 9 were, and I'll try to recreate it, but God, I can't. But it would be like 1, and it would be like cross-eyed, you know? And it would be like 2. And like my tongue would be out, you know? And we're just gonna skip to, just imagine in your minds, you've all seen it. But none of them were me crying or like having to be here, you know? Or anything sad. That dude just wasn't a sad guy. He just made everything really funny, you know? God, and he made fun of Hulky so much. If anybody has a shared interest in making fun of Hulky, it's him and I, you know? So I don't have anything else to say because, you know, I'm about to go into a British accent.
Oh no!
I'm just gonna come on.
I love you.
I love you so much.
Good Lord, there's a lot of people in here.
Yeah.
I met Carter because of that damn motorcycle. There was a Facebook group we were both on. We both had the same model of bike, and somebody posted up, "Where's everybody from?" And so everyone listed their cities. And I don't remember me or him. One of us said Baton Rouge, and one of us saw that and contacted the other. And took a couple weeks, but we met up at a bike night and got to know each other and became, you know, friends on Facebook and all that mess. And 2 or 3 weeks after that, I was scrolling through his photography pictures, and then I thought, wait a minute, this looks so familiar. And I got to thinking and realized I'd met the guy 2 months or 3 months before at Funk Fest at Tin Roof, selling his artwork. And I had a long discussion with him about photography. And I told him this, and he had a good laugh over it. And I told him that the picture that I remembered was that the one of the leopard, I believe, walking down the tree branch. And so a couple days later, he'd asked me to help him work on his bike, do something to it. So he came over to the house, and he brought me a print of that picture. He said, "Oh, yeah, this is the one that you said you liked." And so it's been sitting just, you know, sort of on my bookshelf, and I reckon I'll have to get a frame for it now. He's a fantastic dude, full of fun and life, and strong ideas, and a little bit kooky and a little bit socially awkward, like we all are. And we're all going to miss him a lot. But I think we can all carry forward his life and his love and his art and his photography and move on with that and use that. Right, that's the perfect finale.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I met Carter at 13th Gate, and we would both work as zombies together.
Huh.
He would have to wear this mask with one eye that he absolutely hated, because he said he could hardly breathe to start off with, not to mention wearing that thing. What I remember liking most about Carter when we started was that I would sit there and I'd laugh about the fact that we were all just zombies who were being very casual. A lot of guys were vaping and not being zombies. And I'd say how poetic that was and how I wish I could paint it or take a photo. And more than anybody, Carter seemed to get that, what I meant. And that, life was poetic and strange and weird. And then I would often work with Carter again during my brief time at EA Games, and I'd drive him home from work a lot, and we'd laugh the entire time. Yeah. He'd make jokes about things most people want to joke about, how terrible the neighborhood he lived in was. I often tell stories about Carter's stories, the times the cops pulled him over and were like, "Why do you live here?" And then as time went by, Carter would invite me to things on days that I was sick or I really didn't feel like going out, and it was just consistent. But I'd go out anyway because I missed him, and I'd never regret it. He was a blast every time, and even when he was still alive, he would remind me we have to make time for people we care about. And that's what I'm going to remember Carter for. And I just thought that was important. Thank you.
It's really hard to walk.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I remember Carter most from EA. I was afraid to kind of talk to anybody. I had just came back from Iowa. And I don't know how it progressed from me just being kind of in this small little origin family to us making like a gang we called FTP. Khaled and Alex were in it, and Jeremy. And we had some really good memories. He has a couple of memes. Get Carter eyes. That was his favorite. He made a cute little meme of me being like a little Alolan Vulpix because he loves Pokemon Go. I remember that. He would always go by the lake and go catch some Pokemon at the gym. But there's, memories like the parties that y'all would invite me to, and I was really thankful for that. You guys were so beautiful. And I'll never forget, the funniest memories of me was when I got kind of excluded from the group because I didn't like cheesecake. I got singled out for not liking cheesecake at first, and he was like, "Oh, this is a boys only group now." So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it, and if I don't like it, I'll let you know. At least I can try it. And so I tried it, and I let them know. And he's like, "See, I told you you'll like it." And so I tried it. But my very last memory of him, and I still have those photos, is what he took of things that he introduced me to, like Vampire the Masquerade. He got me so much into that, and he helped me base my story that I'll be doing this week with that. And he showed me just, it's okay to be you. I talked a lot about just Japanese fashion with him and everything, and he talked a lot about you, and he would just be like, "Oh, Lexi," but I knew he was just always I was like, I could tell he really cherished you and cherished everyone, and it was really rare. And my other favorite quote was, "Oh, I'm gonna get you after I finish this cup of coffee." It would be my favorite quote. It would just make us laugh and make the day just go faster. Thank you.
Another really small thing. So I'm trying to make it quick because I don't like this one bit. We had the same shirt that he wore all the time. The shirt with the skull and the heart top. You can see it in some of those fucking pictures. He wore it all the time. And so one time we showed up to a derby event together in the same shirt, and he like freaked the fuck out. Fuck yeah, I love this shirt. And so I never wore that shirt unless I knew I was going to an event he was going to, so he could be in it and have that dumbass moment. And I really didn't wear it, and the night that it happened, I wore it to sleep that night because I'm a freak. I'm sorry, but it was a connection, and I don't know if I'm ever going to wear it again because I can't share that moment with him anymore. And it's bullshit. So, yeah, that's it. So, thank you.
A lot of you probably don't know me, but I'm Nancy Jo Pregan. I had the pleasure of being Carter's, and I mean, I was always confused about what his name was. His boss. And I just knew him from work. And we had one of our people who we really loved, and he left us and he went to Austin, and so we're trying to find somebody to replace him, and I just thought nobody's going to replace him. But I think Carter came through Markel, and he was delightful, you know, and he passed my strenuous test, an interview, which has the question at the end, do you like cats? Because we have an office cat, Marvin Gaye. And he said, oh, yeah. Oh, let me show you. And, you know, I really didn't know him outside of work, but I feel like I got to know, I mean, and the fact that you said his apartment was messy, let me just tell you, he was so clean at work. His office was immaculate, and now Cedric has ruined it, but it was immaculate, and everything was just perfect. I mean, he was so ADD about it. I mean, just crazy, just obsessive about everything being perfect. And
told me that's why it wasn't like that at home.
He had to do it at work. He had to do it at work. But you know, I'm the person who scans people in and out for lunch, and so you know, he would have his Roddy frozen meal, like I would have my Roddy frozen meal, and we would talk. And you know, a lot of times when he would say, my girl, I wasn't sure if he was talking about you or Val. What was he talking about? But, yeah, I mean, on his goals, I think it was his May goals, one of his goals was, make Marvin Gaye love me. And I leave early on Fridays, and this past Friday, I would always go and say, Carter, go visit Marvin while I'm gone. He'd say, yeah, because he'd love to go in there when I went around and fool with Marvin however he wanted. And I went to tell him that, and he wasn't there, you know. He wasn't there. And I'm so sorry that he's gone. And you know, in an alternative universe, I would have made him stay a little longer at the end of that day, and I wanted to make him come back, and because he was not turning his light off. And I'm really a nice person, but I can really be a bitch at work. You know, it's just like it's like he was always making someone else turn that light off, and I'd say, you know, it's your light, and you know, we're for the environment, and you really should turn it off, and blah, blah, blah. And maybe this is not really the thing to say here, but he was in a hurry to leave. I don't know why he was in such a big rush that day. But he's usually just kind of poking around and in the middle of the group getting out. And he wasn't. He was in the first. And he was kind of in a rush. And he left the goddamn light on. And so I saw that the light was on, and I said to one of the warehouse guys, I said, "Where is Carter?" And they said, "Oh, he's already out there." And I almost, went into my bitch mode, and I thought, should I get him to come back in? And I was like, get that guy and make him turn off this goddamn light himself. Don't turn it off for him. And I didn't, and I just wish I had. I just wish I had been, a bitch one more time. But your son was lovely. He was lovely to work with. Everybody, we have 20 people there who worked with him. Everyone's brokenhearted. Everyone is brokenhearted. And, but I too feel like Carter's here. He's pretty happy with this event, pretty happy with it. He's pretty happy with it. I think he'll be happier at the thing at your house when you're really drinking. And the cats are there. Don't let the cats get out. No. Yes, shut them off. He's a little worried about that. Don't let those cats out.
They're around.
Thank you for everybody that has shared. There's been some really fun stories, some very touching stories as well. I want to open up the room a little bit longer. If anybody else is interested in coming up, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Hi, my name is Randa. I guess I'll be the rep for Red Stick. So I'm the head non-skating official for Red Stick Roller Derby, which means that I get to do the sexy side of Derby, which is like stats, scorekeeping. It's really sexy. So much fun. And Carter was someone that made everyone feel so comfortable. Like the juniors loved working with him. Like they loved, he made them feel at home and relaxed when taking their pictures. He took all of our team photos, he took the officials' photos, which is nice because they hadn't been updated in like 1,000 years. So, but Carter took like a couple pictures. Like it's hard to get pictures of NSOs. It's hard to get good pictures of NSOs too. And he always got like one or two really good pictures that he took because he made me feel cool being an NSO, which is very rare. It is. It's hard. And I know like everyone in the league will miss him so much. And it's a gigantic hole. And it's also. As NSO, I never had to yell at him, which was nice. I have to be such a bitch all the time, and with him, I never had to do that. And I would always enjoy being in the middle of the track with him, and he was always just spatially aware of everything. And and any time I had to run over him, he would do, "I'm so sorry." So it's definitely a hole in the middle. It's weird not seeing him on the outside. So yeah, it sucks. But we love you so much. So yeah.
I feel like this is my story at every funeral, but when I met Carter, it was a really rough spot. I met him at EA. I had just come back from taking a leave from one of my friends dying. And I really didn't know who he was. I really didn't know anyone. It was my second contract. And like a lot of you guys have said, he kind of was that smile I really needed and just the comfort I needed. I wasn't treated like I was fragile. I was treated like a human being, which is all I really wanted. And so I talked to him a little bit. We kind of stopped talking for a while. And I hit my next furlough and my brother died. And I came back and he was there again. And we kind of did the Pokemon Go thing. We bonded over stuff like not being able to breathe. And he actually actually was teaching the photography class at LSU at the same time I was taking a plant class. And I am just as obsessed with plants as Carter was with cats. And we would meet at the end of every class, because it was at the same time, and I would show him my plant, and he would talk to me about how horrible my pictures were. And that was our thing. And I never really knew him really well. I don't know any of you people, or maybe a handful that were also at EA. And I didn't expect to see anyone I knew. But it's really nice to kind of know that he was like this with everybody. Again, it makes me feel like normal, which is something he was so amazingly good at the time that like I needed it the most. And I just want to share that. And I wish I would have hung out with him more. Because, you know, it was always, oh, come do Pokemon with us and come do this. And I was like, oh no, I'm really tired. Or it's too hot. But that was our exercise. And I really wish I could have met you on better terms. I just talked about you all the time. I knew you immediately because of all the pictures. I remember, and it's up on there, but he had this picture of you two, and it was taped to his desk. And it was you, and I believe there was the picture of him with Belle as well. But I remember asking him one day who you were. And I was like, oh, who is she? She's so beautiful, and you know. And he was like, oh, it's Lexi. And he told me about you, and he talked about how great you were. And it's just, he was this beacon of love when I needed it. And this wasn't his best friend. Didn't know any of you guys, but this just broke me. And it's just so nice to be in a room with all these people, spreading all this, you know, happiness and love, and kind of feeling included, even though I wasn't that close. So, yeah. Thank you.
I met Carter at the 13th gate, and Carter accepted me right away. We were instant friends, always together. I was doing photography for an agency, and I was just crap at it, and I knew it. But I was like, I know this really great photographer. He could do circles around me, so I brought him in. But there's just, we did so much together. I mean, he was an artist. His soul was an artist. He was an artist through his photography, his love for people, his passion for things. Like, I mean, we kind of got distant, but I kept such a close eye on him on Facebook, just the different events and stuff that he organized and the things he did. And there's something that I remember that Carter would always sit me down at his computer and make me look at pictures of events that he did and talk about how much he loved all of his friends from Florida and from everywhere else that he lived. And just to see all of you here, know that even though that you might have gotten distant to him, Carter always held you in his heart so much. He loved every one of you, and I know I don't know you, Lexi, and I just saw your relationship through Facebook, but I was with Carter through several times, and just seeing your pictures and the sparkle in his eyes, and just knowing that he found the love of his life, and that he was the happiest that he had ever been. He was doing what he loved. He was with the woman he loved. He had his babies, his kitties. He was a light that was cut out too short. And this world will be a little bit dimmer, but we have to keep that light shining in all of us. I love you, Carter. We have room for one more. Do you want to try again?
Sorry about that. Wasn't real for me until today. I remember when I looked at the article that I got sent, the first thing I thought was how bad a shape he'd be that it said Ryan Carter on it. It's the first thing. Like it didn't sink in. But I just saw that and I was like, oh man, he'd be pissed. Carter and I met probably in the late 90s at goth clubs. And then we stayed in touch by pretending to be vampires. playing yeah, exactly. He had his fangs and playing Dungeons and Dragons and all kind of other nerdy stuff. But that's what was amazing about him. He never let that, he was never self-conscious about any of the nerdy shit we did. He always owned all of it. And he taught me a lot. The guy taught me a lot. He, what I was trying to say before is just the most genuine guy I ever knew. And we didn't see each other a lot, but man, every time we talked, it was just like old times again. He's a best friend, and I'm gonna miss him. And it's amazing to hear everybody tell these stories, and it's the same guy I knew. Same guy to everyone. I'm sorry. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you. So, thank you all very much for sharing your heart and your love, and for making us smile too. Those are some great stories. Lexi wanted me to let you all know that she's having a little bit of a continuation of a celebration at her house. It is at 801 Birmingham Drive, and not just because she's British, but it just happens to be that way. But she'll all be here all day.
Yeah. Birmingham.
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 So y'all are welcome. We'll stay here for a little bit longer and interact a little bit more.
Please eat the food and drink the drink.
Drink the alcohol.
Responsibly.
Drive responsibly. Be careful. The auction will be going on until April, or I keep wanting to say April. August 12th. And then the works here are also still going. You can come see me, and we can work that out. If you do see something that has been sold, let me know too, because we could possibly make some prints out of that as well. I did want to read one more thing, and then we can let a sigh out of release and move on. I cried when you passed away. I still cry today. Although I loved you dearly, I couldn't make you stay. A golden heart stopped beating, hard-working hands at rest. God broke my heart to prove to me He only takes the best. Thank you all. Bless you all for being here.